That's it. I'm being through.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Engagement and Communication Committee meeting of Bexhill-on-Sea Town Council. This is the first committee meeting of 2026, so Happy New Year everybody, and we will commence with the proceedings. First item on the agenda is public participation. My eagle eyes spot that we have no members of the public present, and so we will go straight into item 2, receiving apologies for absence. Have we received any?
Yes, we have 2 apologies for absence. Councillor Winter due to family bereavement and Councillor Crotty for having the flu.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Yes, Councillor Singh, sorry.
If I could, I need to leave at 7:30 tonight, if that's okay.
Okay, fair enough. Duly noted. Thank you very much for informing us.
Thank you.
Item 3 on the agenda, to receive declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. I'm going to declare an interest, and I probably think we all probably could declare an interest in item 16 because we could potentially all be past mayors at one time or another. So we've probably all got an interest in that particular item, although there's only one of us in the building at the moment. There is a past mayor and two possibly. Oh, past mayor for last year. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the potential is any one of the other councillors could become a past mayor. So we've all got an interest, and for that reason, I am going to stay for the proceedings and take part in the voting procedures as well for it. Councillor Wilson.
Does that include item 17, Chair? Because we could also be past deputy mayors.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Just for exactly the same reasons, yes. Yeah. Okay, Chair's announcements. Well, apart from that little announcement, I've got no other announcements to make. So I'll move on to the minutes of the 5th of November. Has anyone got any comments about the minutes of the 5th of November? I've got one I would like to make, which I have discussed with the clerk previously. On item 00280B, questions, there are a couple of questions that haven't been answered. And therefore, if everybody's okay to sign the minutes, we will endeavour to get the questions answered to those at next meeting.
There's also one that could have been on this agenda, which doesn't require an answer, which is mine regarding developing a strategy. That's not a question, that's a potential agenda item.
Yeah, but again, it hasn't been addressed.
Yeah.
And so in the next meeting, unless the Town Clerk has got any further information she wishes to relay on that.
Through you, Chair, I'm happy to answer the questions now.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine.
If that's okay. Councillor Crotty asked if there could be space on the notice boards for police resources. Yes, there can be, especially the one at Devonshire Square that is slightly larger than some of the other notice boards we have. Also, it depends whether the police provide us with them resources. We've got a couple that have leaflets that have been dropped into the hub, I think over the Christmas period, that will go up into the notice boards. But obviously that depends on what information we're provided. Councillor Drake?
Oh no, sorry.
I've noted.
Councillor Blagrove requested that when provided with posters by local organisations and businesses that they are A5 in order to improve the appearance of the notice boards. We do request from the organisations if they can provide an A5, can they do so, but obviously they don't always, and we just have to obviously put up what we've been offered.
Okay, fair enough.
Councillor Crotty informed the committee that the map behind the notice board is outdated. We assume that means the map behind Devonshire Square notice board. That is nothing to do with the council. That is a separate business that deals with that map. That's something that obviously is out of our control. Councillor Wilson requested about the Engagement Comms Committee develop a strategy. That was meant to be an agenda item for this meeting. It will be an agenda item for the next meeting of Engagement and Comms. And then Councillor Wilson asked whether the notice boards are under warranty and if the maintenance by the Rangers would affect that. I've checked with another officer in the office, no, they're not under warranty, so anything that we deal with the notice boards will not have any effect on that whatsoever.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's brilliant, and those questions will be provided on the minutes for this particular meeting. Councillor Jason.
Yeah, when I read it, it was all news to me. I wasn't present at that meeting, but I'm on the list of attendees. So
Ah, okay.
I thought it was all very strange.
That needs to be
Not
adjusted
rang a
then,
bell.
doesn't it? Yeah.
The present of this needs to be removed
Yeah.
out of that minutes. So I've removed Councillor Drayson.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you happy?
Is everybody okay for me to sign them off with those adjustments made?
Yes.
Bear with me a moment then while I do so.
Do you need a proposer and a second?
Oh yes, could I have a proposer for those minutes? All carried. A seconder. Yeah. All those in favour? Yeah. Thank you very much. What date are we to go with the 17th? Thank you very much. Okay. We will move on to item 6 on the agenda, which is regalia. Now, we should have all have in front of you the photographs of the item that we're going to be referring to, and also a pack which I put together regarding the individual and his time as Mayor of Bexhill-on-Sea, and his achievements within Bexhill as a businessman as well. Just to give you a little bit of background information to the individual we're talking about here.
Shall I say thank you for doing that? It's really good. I've looked through it. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. All the information there is readily available online. So it's just collating it together and sort of.
Yeah, still took me a bit of time though. So
Thank you. We have been approached by a member of the family of the past mayor, and with the information that they had no one else in the family line in order to pass this item on to, and so they were wanting to either pass it to the museum or ourselves. It was on the agenda a couple of months back. However, we hadn't got an idea of what they were talking about because we hadn't seen the photographs concerned. Now we have the photographs concerned, we can make a better judgment. I think I'm right in saying it's very, very similar to the Deputy Mayor's badge, if not identical. They probably sort of had a bulk deal or something like that going on with them at the time. I will pass on to the clerk, who will be able to give us a little bit more information regarding this, based on the scant information I provided.
To be fair, Councillor Plim, very similar to what you've explained to the committee, we received an email from a lady stating that the Mayor's badge of office and the photos she'd provided belonged to Alderman Gray. The granddaughter, who she obviously knows very well, now in her 90s, has recently gone into a care home with advanced Alzheimer's. I and other friends of hers are clearing her house prior to sale. We know for some years she'd been planning to try and find a home for the badge with Bexhill Council or the museum, but had never got round to it. So we would like now to carry out her wishes. And basically, would we discuss it and let her know if that's the wishes of the council?
Okay, it's quite clear cut. If you want to debate this or make any comments, please feel free to do so, but we could quite possibly go straight to the vote on this one. If I can get a proposal.
One little comment,
Yes.
which is I would love to have it. If we have it, let's make sure we do something with it and it just doesn't go in a drawer.
And I would just like to say thank you to the family for wanting to transfer that over, and we very much appreciate that, so thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
I heard Clark say that it was either to go to, well, the family wished it to go to the council or the museum, without wishing to. I think this is brilliant, but I don't want to tread on toes. Have we contacted the museum to see whether they would be interested in it, or are they not interested in it? Because if the family said either or, if we say yes, would we upset the museum if they might want to as well?
Quite possibly it's not our remit to contact the museum on someone else's behalf. Because
I really believe that this should fit in our museum if possible. It's better suited, it's history, it's the town, reading all of this, some of the work that he did as a mayor and as a businessman is long-standing, and it's still there now. And the museum pulls all that together. As you said, this is all available online, and it does worry me that a museum keeps all the artefacts in one place and does events of combined, like they might do something on all past mayors, and then this might not be included. I just wonder whether they have been approached by the family or by us, because I'm unconvinced where it best fits.
Well, as far as I'm aware, we haven't contacted them, and if they wanted to utilise any of our excuse me, any of our regalia, they're more than free to do so, which they have done. I think a year and a half ago, they utilised some of our regalia for a display, and so it wouldn't be beyond the possibilities that the same thing would happen then. Councillor Hussain.
Yeah, I think it should belong to us. I agree that they can borrow it if they want to. I'd like to propose that we ask the family if we can have it.
Okay. Okay. Has I got a seconder for that?
Well, I think it's not asked them. They've said, "Would you like it?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so say,
we
thank
can
you very
say,
much.
yes,
We'll have
thank
it,
you
yeah.
very much.
Well,
Yeah.
And if
they've said either or could have it, to be precise. We got there first.
Well,
I'm
do we
just
accept
conscious
their
that we
offer?
don't leave this poor family for another 2 months.
No,
Because
no.
we say no, and it gets deferred, and it goes to the museum. We say no, why not the town council?
And it
So
goes
even
round
if we
and
said
round.
yes to it, we could always offer it to the museum
Yes.
with the family's permission.
Exactly.
But
I will just pass on to the clerk who's got further details.
Can I just say, this originally came to us on the 31st of July.
Okay.
And they contacted us first because they preferred that it came to us.
Okay.
So if that's a preference, I think
Okay.
we should definitely take it, and as we said, we can lend it to the museum if we want.
Exactly.
But I do agree with Councillor Drayson that we don't just chuck it in a drawer, we do something nice with it.
Okay. I had a proposal for
Yes.
Councillor Hussain. Councillor Drayson's seconding. All those in favour of accepting the offer, please raise your hands. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay. We will move on to item 7 to receive an update on the civic history booklet. Would you like to?
Tom has arranged to go and take some more photographs of the regalia that is being held at the museum, because when we originally had the regalia photographed back, I think sometime in the summer when I was involved with that, I, for whatever reason, wasn't made aware that we had regalia at the museum, so the photographer didn't go down and take the pictures at the time, and the quality of the photos that we did have weren't good enough to go to print. So Tom is looking to go down and meet with the museum and do that, but at the moment they're shut, I believe, and he's waiting for them to come back with a date to do that. He's managed to go down and get a photograph of the Falklands flag, which is also part of what's going in there. That's done, and I'm hoping to bring the draft to you at the next engagement and comms meeting.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillor Thomas, have you got your hand up? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll move on to item 8, councillor ID tags. I believe an email went out today regarding that, and people have been asked to pop in there at some stage, the people that are outstanding. I don't know if there's anything further we can add to that, is there? No? Okay.
Sorry, Chair, is that just
Councillor
for
Wilson.
photographs? Is that just for the photographs of councillors?
Yes.
Are there many? I mean,
I honestly don't
it
know.
seems to take a long time to get a photograph.
Yeah.
And it's not officers, it's...
Yeah, exactly.
There's 5 still outstanding.
I hold my hand up. I am one of them. Most of the time the office is open, I'm in Royal Mail uniform, and I don't think it's suitable for me to be photographed in Royal Mail uniform. No. So I'm waiting for an occasion where I'm conveniently walking past, not in uniform. Okay, moving on to item 9, community events. The Serpillay sculpture, and we're to receive an update.
Okay, I know that this has come up at full council by a member of the public, and they queried it several times about when an update will be done on the circular. The information that had been provided by the member of public that had put the design forward and the information with that, basically the where it was going to be purchased from was outside of the UK and from China. Now obviously that comes with a lot of issues. One, obviously massive carbon footprint. Two, if there's issues with it, it's going to be very difficult to contact that company to go and iron out any issues potentially we have. And I believe it will not meet specification of highways. So what we're looking at doing and what we've done in the office is contacted or in the process of contacting local metal workers to work on the same spec that was provided, because obviously that's what the council did like, but obviously built to the specifications that would be able to be placed on Ravenside roundabout. So that is ongoing at the moment. We are contacting, obviously we need to get free quotes as per the financial regulations, but obviously the spec that was provided, we feel the material won't be as good as British Steel and it won't fulfil the requirements that will be needed. And obviously the import cost of that will be quite considerable.
Okay, Councillor Hussain.
Sorry, I may have missed it because I wasn't here at the last meeting, but did we find out from Highways then what the spec was that they would have on the roundabout? Because I thought we were only waiting on Highways to find out what spec they wanted before we went out to find out about the circular.
Yes and no. We was waiting for some specification for Highways. It's kind of a chicken and egg situation. Okay. Until we provide them with exactly what kind of metalwork, dimensions, everything else with it, they will then say to us what we would need with wind and structural. That bit hadn't been pieced together for whatever reason, and obviously now we've looked into it and we're trying to get this not pushed along, but find a local or a UK based company that would be able to do the specification that obviously was put forward but made here in the UK rather than imported.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Just last time we had a discussion on it, I thought we were going to ask Highways before we actually went out to get, but that's fine.
We have, but they've come back and said, well, what are you looking to actually put on it? So, sorry, through you, Chair. They've come back and said, well, what are you actually looking to do?
Yeah,
so we're kind of in this round robin with them.
We are in the process, from what I understand, also is connecting up with some local businesses to find out whether they have got the capacity to produce something as well. Councillor Wilson.
It is a little disappointing because a local business from Hastings, their name was provided to our previous clerk when this first started, and that was ignored. And that's the person who put the sculpture next to the Bexhill Rowing Club, just on the left-hand side of the steps. And having met him, he's excellent. He's very talented, and he probably would be cost-effective as well. So it's disappointing. Can I suggest that he should be included in people that we are going to, because he's local and already worked on, and Councillor Timpey has his contact details.
All duly noted.
That was provided. My second point on the circular is I spent quite a bit of time 2 months ago trying to find the motion where it was agreed that we would do this, and I don't believe we've actually had a motion that we are going to create a design along the Circle in the middle of the roundabout at Ravenside. I found something that said that the clerk would be asked to investigate the possibility, but I don't believe there's ever been a motion that we would agree it, and I believe that probably the cost would be above the limit that a committee could agree. So it would have to go to full council, I believe. So I don't want to get this committee into a position where we are going ahead and doing it without the correct agreement in place.
I'm sure the clerk will follow that up, and
I honestly I couldn't find it anywhere. I went through all of the agenda and minutes and I couldn't find it.
No doubt the clerk will follow that up and report back to us. Yes.
I've got a feeling this is probably part of the investigation that's still going on. As you say, we've not said a yay to it because the cost might come back in absolutely astronomical. So I think this is still part of the investigation, but it's right to say we haven't said yes yet.
Yeah, because bearing in mind...
Not yet. We haven't said yes.
Bearing in mind what our precept is going to next year, to then put something else from an artistic nature involved in it hasn't been agreed. We could leave ourselves exposed to some other questions.
I will just confirm whether is there a budget for this yet? No. So I think that probably answers the question and goes along the same lines Councillor Drayson said. Councillor Baygrove.
Sorry, I was under the impression that the people that put this forward were going to pay for this themselves.
No.
No, I've
Or
never
get
heard
funding,
that.
or get funding for it.
No.
Never heard that.
Okay.
Or if they were, they haven't approached the
It all
council.
happened so long ago. It's dragged its heels all the way
Exactly.
down the line.
And
isn't it?
that's why Chair, and that's why I did the groundwork to understand whether it has been agreed, and I don't believe it has. So I think we need to remember that.
Okay. Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, I remember going back some time ago, there was some doubt as to whether highways were actually content with Serpent being put on the roundabout. Have they come back to us and said yes, it will be fine, depending on what it is?
That's what we are waiting for, final confirmation from them once we establish a fabricator as to what the model will look like and be made of.
At present, we don't have confirmation that they are happy to have it there.
Not as yet, no.
So it's a chicken and egg situation.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so that's us up to date with that one. Moving on to item 10, Royal British Legion events. This is to receive feedback from the Remembrance Day events in November. Have we got any thoughts from councillors present? Have we received any replies from any members of the public or people involved in those events?
Yes, we received feedback from both the Legion in Bexhill and at Little Common, and it was all positive. They were happy with the way it was run. They felt that it ran quite smoothly, and yeah, I think Little Common has asked whether we can have a bagpiper next year, and yeah, we're looking into that.
Okay. Councillor Wilson.
Talking from the central one, I thought it went pretty well. There's always a little confusion with the amount of people that are going to lay wreaths, but that was got over. I did feel that there was even more there this year. There was somewhere around 200, mainly youngsters, in the parade, which was very impressive. And long may that continue, because as the ageing continue down that path, the youngsters will have to take on the remembrance. I would again suggest that more councillors could be there. There were, I believe, 4 or 5 in at the Little Common one, but there were not that many at the central one, which is a shame. And I just wonder whether, as we, the Peace Mayor, whether we could include that in the Remembrance Sunday, and maybe the Mayor could take that along, whoever is Mayor, whoever gets elected in May, could take that along as a memory. But all in all, I thought it was another excellent event. British Legion do it very well, and it's nice to have all the dignitaries there and all the remembrance involved with it.
Any further comments? Then I'll move on to item 11, feedback on the Christmas lights switch on. Have we received any feedback on the Christmas lights?
Feedback online and verbally has been positive. This is what the events team has fed back to me.
Okay.
Nothing in particular detail. I think they want your feedback
Yep.
as well.
Okay, Councillor Blago.
I did read online yesterday, somebody put up a post suggesting, I wasn't there myself, but suggesting that there were probably 200 people at the switch on of the lights, and comparing it to a few years ago, well, whichever year that was, when, you know, there was said to be 10,000 people there. I don't know that either of those figures are correct, but you know, certainly we need to look at some way to make this a busier event. And I think for one of the things will be the interest in the stall holders that are there, because a lot of people travel in for that specifically. And, you know, we really need it to be good and pushed out there a lot harder this year, next year. Sorry.
Okay. Councillor Drayson?
On that point, can I say I thought it was very good to move the stalls down Western Road from Devonshire Road. There were complaints from people lower down Western Road that it didn't get that far. Well, you get as many stalls as you get. You can't make them go down further, but that was very good. Stealing Councillor Hussein's thunder, it's a bit early to start it, a bit early to open it, and the switching on the lights should be the high point. Go home, not switch on the lights and have some entertainment and have something else. The switching on the light, it's in the title, it's the switch on. Having said that, can I also say that the lights themselves I thought were very good this year, and quite how we got permission to put them up along past the Delaware when a previous company who tried to do it, namely my company, were told by East Sussex that they're cast iron and you can't have anything on those lampposts. And I see they're there, so hopefully they're going to stay there. They're not just for Christmas. Good, thank you.
Councillor Hussain?
Yeah, I agree with what Councillor Drayson said, and I think maybe if we ask some of the schools to come in and have their choirs maybe singing there, doesn't have to be all of them, or we can ask all of them and see which ones come. That would then bring families in, or those children, and yeah, I think that may bring more people in. And I don't know who was in control of the stalls, but I believe it was the Lions Club.
Yeah.
Maybe we could share it with the Lions Club and maybe get some more stalls in with our team as well. That's both teams bringing in people into the town to the stalls and whatever. I think that's it really. But other than that, I thought it was really good. Really good switch on, really good day.
Yeah, I must admit, it amazed me the amount of people that were there from what I could see on the social media side of things, because I couldn't attend. Considering the bad weather that was leading up to it, it seemed to have stopped just in time. Councillor Wilson.
I too saw the social media post yesterday, and it's very disappointing because you can't measure one year against another year.
No, of course you can't.
Because the year where it did appear that there were a lot of people there was very different. We hadn't had COVID. It had been there hadn't been Christmas lights for many years of any substance before that. And whatever the one person did, it wouldn't be able to do it for the same price now because everything's gone up, so you cannot compare eggs for eggs. When he did it then, he didn't put any lights in London Road, and suddenly he wants us to put lights in London Road. And as Councillor Drayson said, we've put lights down the seafront, which is going to be there all year round. So there's some real positives, and it just annoys me that there were some real positives around what the tree looked like, what the lights looked like, and suddenly, a month after Christmas or 3 weeks after Christmas, one resident decides to moan about things. And we should be very proud of our lights that we put up last year, the year before. We've progressed that. I know there's more money in the precept for next year's to allow for further expansion into the event, and I do believe that a stage is required because the dancing that was done was not visible particularly well by people who were, I can't count the numbers, but there were 4 or 5 deep around Devonshire Square. If you got to third back, you couldn't see what the kids were, what they were dancing. They put so much effort into it. I agree with Councillor saying we should get, or try to get, choirs from the schools. I've been to Bexhill Academy. Their music set up there is run by obviously staff, and they're brilliant. So let's engage with them, and let's get, they've got a rock band. Let's get the rock band down there next year. Let's do something again different so it evolves year on year and bring different things in. I have to say it was jolly cold. Could we have some potential mobile heating for the evening, or some warming up of horse chestnuts on the side of the road to give it a bit more warm? I know there's health and safety issues, but I think because of the inclemency of the weather early doors last year, it did put a lot of people off. If there was some heating, it might encourage them to stay a little bit longer. I agree with the councillor saying we do need to potentially grow the stalls, but I don't know how to go about doing that. Maybe we need some help from event organisers that have done it before to get some of those in there, because but overall improved year on year, and that's what we should be looking to do, is improve it year on year, not just one effort and leave it at that year in, year out. We should look to slowly improve it.
Just briefly, Chair, one thing that people did keep saying to me is no procession this year, and I know that's potentially got other health and safety problems to it, but could we at least look at it even if we then don't do it? But the most common thing to me, people were asking, was a procession.
Okay, I'll pass on to the clerk.
Just to make you all aware that the events team have already met with the Christmas lights lady as a company, because obviously we're in the last year of the 3-year contract with them, which is a separate thing, we'll discuss at another meeting. And they're already looking at what we can do to enhance the Christmas lighting down Western Road, because I know that comes up as a contention each year of not having enough, and they are looking at other options of also extra lighting and stuff on Devonshire Square, the other side away from the tree, which was quite dark. So yeah, they are already planning and looking at how to expand, and I know the team definitely want to expand the event and not leave it as it is. All I will say with relation to the stalls, at the moment the Lions control all of the stalls. Whether you want as a committee for us to also look at getting additional stalls, that's a discussion we would need to have with the Lions, and would they also be happy for us to do that, because at the moment they literally control all of the market side of the Christmas light switch on.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Hussain?
I definitely think we should look at that, with us having a little control over the stalls as well.
Yeah.
And maybe going out there quite early actually. I know we're talking about it now, but in the next meeting really it should be a discussion that we're having to let people know that from then make a decision and go out there and say, with this is a date for our Christmas, would you like a stall?
I'll just confirm, have we got a contract with the Lions to provide the stalls, or is it something that they have got a contract with RDC regarding road closures and stalls?
They deal with that side of it, so that's the thing. They've dealt with the market side of it. I suppose once when the Christmas light switch on event was starting up again, because obviously they, for whatever reason, we wasn't at a stage to do it completely. It was kind of where I think the previous clerk organised that it was a collaboration. Now, whether as we're growing we outgrow that sort of, not outgrow the collaboration, but have to build on it, because obviously if they can only get a certain number of stalls, and then we may have to, like you say, go out and look at organising stalls. That's a discussion I think we may need to have, obviously with the Lions, because obviously they have done a lot of work for us over the years, and we don't want to feel like we're saying, okay,
It's more of a work together.
But we're going to need to have the team's going to need to have the meetings with them and find out how they feel about that.
Okay. I think you probably gauged the feeling of councillors here, so you don't particularly need a motion to go forward with this, do you? No. Okay. Councillor Baldwin.
I'd just like to add my bit on here, which is with our, is it 62,000 the budget?
I believe.
£62,000, that's a lot of money for Christmas lights. And I saw an idea happen in St Leonard's 15 years ago, approximately 15 years ago, when the council could not afford the Christmas lights. But what they done is they came to every single shop and they gave them about 5 packets of 200 white fairy lights and asked them to display them in the windows. And it looked better than it had ever looked. It was fantastic. And just doing a few little sums, I think we could quite easily do every shop for about £18,000 and then add to it by buying the things that go on the lampposts, such as the ones in Sidley, which I was really impressed with this year. But I'm just looking at a way to do something different once we come out of this contract, and to look at something that is extremely a lot cheaper and very, very beautiful. I saw it myself, and so that's why I'm suggesting it, and hopefully I can talk more about it on a different occasion. Thank you.
I'm sure that, again, the points are duly noted, and avenues that we've raised this evening will be explored, and we will have a feedback back from that in due course. Councillor Wilson.
Just to add to that, Rye do something very similar, but Rye Council don't pay for the lights. The shopkeepers do it themselves. So there is no cost at all. It wouldn't even cost 18,000. But I think there's some more work to be done with some of the shops in Bexhill, because whilst there were some estate agents, funeral directors, other shops that would normally be open, there were a lot that 4 o'clock closed. And that's disappointing, because it's Bexhill's town and we're trying to help shopkeepers. So I think there could be a bit more engagement done with shopkeepers to stay open. Change your hours for the day. Work from 11 till 7 or whatever, but because they're turning on the Christmas lights, that might encourage more people in as well. So there's lots of options that could be done.
All duly noted. If I can, I will. Did you have your hand up?
No. I'd just like to say, obviously, owning a business in town, that I understand where you're coming from, but you have to remember that these businesses aren't all run by themselves. They may have people working in it, they then got to pay to stay open, so we need to be a little bit...
It's about moving their opening times if it's a small independent one.
If they're independent and they own the shop and they want to open it, I understand, but there will be shops out there that have to pay staff that probably don't want to pay the staff, so we have to be a little bit...
Horses for courses.
Okay, I will move on then to item 12, Bexhill Day 2026. This year we will be having Bexhill Day on Saturday the 15th of August. Is to note that planning is underway. I don't know whether the clerk needs to get any more information from us, or if there's any more you wish to pass on to us.
Not at this time.
No. Early days. Councillor
Could
Wilson.
I just say that, having had a discussion with the previous clerk, I want to make sure that my feedback from then is made aware. There were a lot more organisations there. There were a couple of groups of people that aren't included in Bexhill Day, and I think they should be invited to be there. And that's our educational setup in this town. So from play groups, scouting movements, girl guiding, first year of education through to secondary, through to colleges, we've got them all in this town. None of them are down there at Bexhill Day. And I know it's a Saturday, so it might cause an issue, but we should at least invite them to be included, because the youth is the future of this town.
I think you're quite right with that. However, speaking of someone that's closely linked with the Scout group, they do tend to close down in August.
They do.
Because the volunteer leaders tend to want to have time off, and so any events that take place in August tends to be very difficult to get schools and youth organisations involved.
It's not ideal, but we should ask.
Oh, by all means.
We've never asked before.
Yeah, by all means. Councillor Blakeborough.
I have said this before, because the original idea of the Bexhill Day was to make money for different aspects in the town. And
just to correct you on that, it was to make money for the Bexhill Trust.
so it was to make money. Anyway, what I was going to say is that, have we gone any way to do something similar, or are we planning to do anything similar with our Bexhill Day?
I don't believe there's been anything officially, any movements made from the Town Council to discuss with the Bexhill Trust, but I will pass on to Councillor Drayson, who is very heavily involved in the Bexhill Trust.
As being the chairman of the Bexhill Trust, I did arrange last year, I was going to have a gazebo on Bexhill Day down there, but I think I ended up on holiday somewhere, and so it didn't happen. And I had spoken to the interim town clerk about re-establishing a closer link with the Bexhill Trust, relating to the council, because when it originally started, the members were approved by the council, not selected necessarily, but were approved by the council. Whilst the trust was looking perhaps to go away from that, it makes sense that we've got a town council, that we come back to that. and it really needs me to pull my finger out to get it sorted. It has continued. We've given grants of about 6,000, I think, since the end of last year up to now. So it does still exist. We still want to give grants to people, and we'd like to have more money coming in so we could give more grants to people. So I will, that's a long way of saying, I'll contact the clerk with my Bexhill Trust hat on to sort that out a bit more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will...
Can I just say finally, sorry,
to Councillor
Chair.
Wilson.
I have to be careful how I word this, but this might come out wrong. A town council, when they have a community event, isn't about making money for the town council, but it should support local organisations, and that includes the Bexhill Trust. So I would be adverse to us trying to make money at it, but we should support the trust. So if you need any help, then I would be very supportive of that. But it's not about us making money because it's a community event. In fact, it should cost us money.
Okay. Moving on now to item 13. Civic Awards and Annual Town Meeting. A date has been set for Saturday the 28th of March for the...
It was when we met, it's changed.
That date has changed.
Writing diary.
Right, okay.
I'll pass to the clerk to give a
Sorry,
further update.
when I had the pre-meet with Councillor Plim and Councillor Lagrave, that was the date that we had originally, the events team had penciled in.
Which was only yesterday.
I know, well, however, times have moved on, and both, the Mayor and Deputy Mayor, but mainly the Mayor, obviously the Mayor is not available. So we are looking at alternative dates, either of the 18th of April or the 25th of April. Going to be at the same venue. We are looking at obviously we have our communications officer now on board, and he has already working to produce a leaflet that will explain how the awards work, what the individual awards are for, what the nominations, where to go for the nominations, and the day of when it's going to be. That will be distributed around the town, like they've done with the events previously. It will be online. It will be put through social media, and also there will be an email coming out to all councillors for them to be able to nominate, similar to how the members of the public will. And that will be the only way that you will be able to nominate. There will be no verbal nominations. It has to be a formal nomination. And that's where we are with it at the moment. The planning obviously is still underway. I'm not sure whether they're moving away or changing any of the format. I wouldn't imagine so, because a lot of it is obviously very set civically. So that's where we are with it at the moment.
Can I just pass that to Councillor Drayson? No doubt the Deputy Mayor and the Mayor saw this afternoon, but I'm probably aware that Councillor Drayson and Councillor Thomas hadn't seen it.
I had made the officers aware of my availability in advance, but that wasn't checked out.
Yep.
The same happened last year, but
Okay.
the whole process works, I think, very, very well. The process itself doesn't need to change at the event.
I think, as the clerk alluded to, there's vast amount of it that can't change.
Yes.
Civic protocol that has to sort of...
There is one thing that we should think about, and it's a rallying call. Behind myself and Councillor are saying there are 16 chairs. Last year there were 4 councillors sitting there. It doesn't send out the right impression at our awards if there are so many empty seats.
Especially as people could ask us questions.
They could.
Yes. Councillor Drayson.
My point was going to be, presumably we don't know the location until we know the date. Yeah.
Okay. Is it okay if I move on to the next item then? Item 14, mayoral afternoon tea.
Yeah.
Receive an update. Will I receive an update from Councillor Wilson?
After much thought, process and debating, that won't be happening. It's been cancelled.
Oh, right, okay.
It will depend upon who gets elected as mayor for next year as to whether they wish to do something, but there is some feedback that it is not easy for a council to organise an event such as a ball, a dinner, afternoon tea. I won't say where we were going to think about doing it, but they only tried to put £10 per head on top of what you can book it on the internet for. So it was seen as a money-making opportunity, and that is one of the reasons why it's very late in the day, and that causes another issue because Engagement and Communications Committee only meets every 2 months. You can't do an event for to invite lots of other civic dignitaries as well as other people to it if you're only meeting every 2 months. So whoever, be it whoever is mayor and they want to do something, they need to think about how that can work, because I started the conversation with the then town clerk back in June, went quite quickly, then nothing happened until November when I asked some questions, and we then decided we can't do that, so let's try a tea party, and then the costs were just exorbitant. It was working out at £55 a head for a couple of sandwiches, a couple of cakes and a glass of fizz. And I can't imagine I could get that many people to £55 a head in the afternoon for an afternoon tea, whereas you can book it online for £21 less. So that's why I've made the decision today to not go ahead with it.
Okay, all noted. I'll move on then to item 15, councillor training events. This is to note that we are still have outstanding training for Councillor Byrne, Councillor Thomas and Councillor Tempe, and this is autism awareness training that's outstanding. So Councillor Blagrove.
Well, I would just like to say this is getting a bit boring, and I really think it's disrespectful that there are 2 councillors not on this meeting, but you know, they're not coming back and they're not doing this autism training, and I'm just wondering if we can now ask them, if the clerk could possibly ask them why they're not doing it, because we've asked them to do it, everybody else has done it. We have councillors with autistic issues, and it really helped when I done it. It really helped, and yet we've got people that are blatantly ignoring this, and their names keep on coming back and bouncing back time and time again. So can we please ask them why they're not doing it?
I will have to point out that training is not compulsory.
No.
And so therefore, if an individual does not want to do the training, it is within their right to not carry through that training. However, the public are aware, because we've been telling people this all the time, and ultimately the public make the decision on the council's sort of manner in which they behave themselves across the course of the 4 years, one of which is training. So we'll see. Councillor...
on the note that you've just said, Chairman, could we remove this from the agenda? Because there's no point in every month putting on there when, as you say, it's not compulsory.
If that's a proposal, I will need a seconder for that. I have a seconder for that. All those in favour, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those against? Those abstaining? 2. That's carried. Thank you very much. And duly noted. Right, moving on.
Sorry, that was just a motion to remove it. We finished talking about the situation, because I'm not aware of any issues that have been created through these 3 people not to do with the training. And if they were any issues, that would follow the code of conduct, would it not?
Yep.
So, and as you said, no training is compulsory. Whilst it's disappointing, they have to live with the fact that they haven't done it. I personally found it useful, but I don't think it's changed my approach to people, full stop, because I treat everyone the same, generally. But I haven't observed anyone behaving any differently, personally. So, is there any benefit in it?
It just saves time, really.
Councillor Thomas.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm one of the people here. I have asked for it to be arranged more than once. So can I ask our town clerk to contact me to arrange a time?
All noted. Thank you very much. I will move on then, if everybody's happy, to item 16, past mayor's badges. Now, this particular item is to agree the final quote for the past mayor's badges. The decision to go ahead with past mayor's badges has been made. The design for the past mayor badge has been made. We are just receiving quotes and to look at the quote and decide whether will we go ahead with A, B, or option C probably is don't go ahead with it. But it's there for us to decide now. What I would say is previously at the meeting we've discussed what had happened to a past mayor's badge that is over 100 years old, and the badges previously seemed to follow the line of family and passed down to family because they were given to people as personal belongings. Now, I would like to think that we can draw up a policy on the back of this to state that these items are council property and therefore they are given to the individual for their lifetime and then passed back to the property, to the council once they pass. But that is for us to discuss later. But I would just think that should be in the back of our minds that that's a possibility, rather than hand something over to a member for them to sort of pass on through their family. It also has come to mind that we're looking at 5 past mayor's badges on here, and when you look at it, there at the moment has only been 2, maybe a third in April, May, but at the moment
3, Chair.
Yeah, there's 3 already.
past mayors, myself,
Yes.
Ling,
Brailsford.
and Brailsford.
And myself.
Their terms of office.
Yes.
I'm talking about individuals. Terms of office. If what's been put here presented is 5 badges based on terms of office, I would think it very strange if we were going to give an individual 2 badges. So therefore, I'm looking at this and thinking really we should be looking at 3, not 5. That does curtail the potential costs that we're looking at as we go forward. But just thinking along those lines as well. Also, it's something that's going to be a one hit for this particular year, or should be a one hit for this particular year, because other councils, and again, this isn't written down anywhere because we haven't got a policy for this yet, because we haven't got the items yet, so we can't write a policy for it at the moment. Other councils find the funds for these particular items from the mayoral budget, and that's something and I hold my hand up for this, I neglected to do on my first term of office. I should have understood the normal protocol for these things and started that process off. But when you get into this position, nobody comes on the back of your shoulder and says, these are the things you've got to do, particularly with a brand new council. I've looked on the internet, I've looked up and down the country at various councils. That is normal practice. It comes out of the mayor's budget and then it's dealt with in that particular way. Therefore, it doesn't have to come to any other meeting or anything like that. And it doesn't have to be used the regalia budget, which is what we're actually using this particular year. We're using the regalia budget to pay for this particular one kickstart the process off, after which it will be within the mayoral budget once we can write the protocol for a copy of that. I don't know if the clerk wishes to add anything to what I've just said there.
No, I think you've covered everything that you need to cover.
All the aspects of it. Councillor Blagrove.
Thank you. I'm afraid I'm unable to support this for the following reasons, and that is firstly, whilst I understand that mayors are past mayors and past deputy mayors may like to own one of these badges, that they actually serve no practical purpose nor facilitate any well-being for our residents. These badges are only of benefit to past mayors and past deputy mayors. Having just seen the costings, which range from £2,500 plus to £3,600 plus, depending on what they're made out of, and for the 5 quoted, in my view, we cannot justify spending this exorbitant and inappropriate amount of money, and that it is actually an affront to hard-pressed residents for what is essentially a vanity project. And I hear Councillor Plim talking about other councils. It's okay to compare us with other councils, but it's kind of irrelevant as well, because, you know, it really doesn't matter. And I would like to see, what I would like to see is, we now know where to get these badges, and if anybody actually wanted one, and I certainly know one of the past mayors has said that she always wanted to buy her own, and I think if you want one, I think buy one and save the people from Bexhill buying these things.
Unfortunately, you cannot purchase civic identification online yourself.
Okay.
Because if that was the case, various people could go around imposing as past mayors, much like the imposter naval officer that got sort of pulled out at Remembrance Day. We could have a number of imposter former mayors turn out at the Remembrance Service. I'm not saying we will, but that's why you can't purchase things online individually. It has to come from within the corporate body themselves. The one-hit die cast on both of, well, one on the past mayor pendant, £451.75, is a one hit. That won't happen again, because you'll then have, it would just be the costs of each badge as it's printed on a yearly basis, or whether they produce 5 or 6 at a time or whatever. But that's a one hit there. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Could I just say that I do understand that, and but how about if it worked the other way, where we know the past mayors and the past deputies, and they could, we could order it for them, and they could pay for them?
Again, you're assuming that every past mayor has got sufficient funds to pay for this. There are past mayors in various councils that have been unemployed and got elected, and you would not expect them to sort of be able to pay for their own badge, just because somebody that has a thriving business and lives in retirement with loads of money can afford to pay that. So you get into a whole strange, if by all means, if an individual wishes to make a charitable donation to offset the costs towards the council for a past mayor's badge, I'm sure the council, if we go ahead with this, will not refuse that. But that's down to the individual to make that decision. Councillor Say.
Can I just say as well that mayors do put a lot of effort in. If you notice, the mayors do go around the town, they go out of town. A lot of our councillors, I don't see them at a lot of events, to be honest. So they put a lot of time into this, and that does cost money. You know, as a deputy mayor, I do a lot of things. I never ask for any money. I pay parking, we go for petrol for places, and I probably could ask, but I don't. So to ask for a badge or something at the end of your term, to be proud of what you've done for your town, I really don't think it's an issue to spend that money on that individual as a mayor that's put that effort into the town, that doesn't get paid for what they do. I'd just like to say that, really.
Councillor Drayson.
Yeah, I take your point, it's been agreed, because I've been against this since the word go. But with your point about buying 3 instead of 5, and then coming out of the mayor's budget, presumably future mayors could decide they don't want one and not purchase it if it came from the mayor's budget.
Yeah.
It's a bit harder with the next item because there isn't a deputy mayor's budget, as far as I know.
There isn't, but we will come to that
yeah,
once we get to that, yeah.
So I very much, I say I'm against the whole idea, but I'm very much in favour of buying 3, not 5, to cover the immediate, and then you've suggested the way out ahead in the future, the mayor's budget.
Okay. Could I just take that particular subject on 3 instead of 5? If we could deal with that, then we can then take a step at a time through this.
Yeah.
Before you do that, could
yeah.
I have my say? Because I
Yes,
haven't
sir.
said anything yet. I've got some issues with this. I don't believe this has been voted on yet. I couldn't find again. The request was to go and investigate and get costs. I don't think this has been voted on. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I don't believe I've seen a proposal and a seconder for this to go ahead. So again, I think because it's been going for so long, and I have done a lot of work, I think most people know what my view is over this, and I believe that the previous town clerk arranged for past mayoral lapel pins, of which I was given one after my first year, so I'm sure, Chair, you have too, because it has the year on it. I don't know how many years she bought, so we need to clarify that as to when if we are going to do this, when we need to buy them, because I'm assuming there will be one for this year, this past year, otherwise that would have been highlighted earlier. So, and you wouldn't have just necessarily bought 4 or 5, but might have done. So, in which case we'd waste that money if we're going to do something else. From a personal perspective, as a past mayor from last year, I'd never wear that. Not ever. I prefer the lapel if I'm going to a civic remembrance event. A little badge is respectful. Having a lanyard round your neck with a piece of metal it's not something I would ever wear. So, and I don't know why we've gone down the route. I think we've just added this to the motion that was raised by a councillor who's not here tonight about past deputy mayors, and suddenly we've got a lanyard with past mayors as well, where we've already got the design because we've given them to previous past mayors, and suddenly we're going away from that. So I think there's some work that we need to do to understand what we've got left, whether it has gone through the voting mechanism before we even get to this stage, I'm afraid. And that's clogging it up a little bit longer, but I'm not comfortable because I'm not clear whether that has actually been voted upon.
But that's fine, because this is not a time critical issue.
No, well, it might be, because we don't know whether we need one for May.
No, because it's
But,
still
yeah.
pending.
Are you saying, you just said you didn't want one?
No, but we don't know whether there is anything for May.
I think there is.
Yeah,
So we've got a year.
Yeah.
In which case.
so it's not time critical.
No.
Councillor Drayson, I'll come
Just
back
like
to
to thank Councillor Wilson for that point, because it's a very important one. So, in fact, should we be saying for both of these that we should refer this to the full council? Either with or without our recommendation, but the mayors and deputy mayors don't necessarily come just from this committee. I would say
No,
that's
they
a
don't.
full council decision.
regalia responsibilities is held by this committee. If we were going over budget, this committee's budget, then yes, by all means we'd have to go up. But it sits very firmly within this committee.
It's
Absolutely.
adding to
That's
the
fine.
regalia.
Pass on to the town clerk.
Just to say, obviously, the budget for these doesn't come into play until the 1st of April anyway, so we can't, even if you was to say we was to go ahead and agree it tonight, there can be no order placed until after the 1st of April. In relation to Councillor Wilson's comment about voting, I believe there was a vote regarding the design. Off
Yes,
the top of my
was.
head, I'm not sure whether there was further votes. I'd have to look into it.
Sorry, Chair. I agree. There was a vote on the design, and that was you had to do the design before you could get the quote to then decide whether you're going to do it. And I don't believe we voted on whether we are going to do this yet.
Yeah, my recollection is that we did vote to go ahead with it, but pending a decision it's like chicken and egg sort of thing again, isn't it? So we'll have to do some research into that to
We had
find
to
out
get to
what's
this
what.
stage before we could have a vote as to whether we're going to do it.
But I think we're at this particular stage now that we can actually whittle down some of this, and I think Councillor Drayson has raised an issue that I raised about the 3 and the 5. So we could actually make a decision on that, because that's within our remit now to do it, because it's not going to affect anything, because we haven't placed the order. We're just looking at the costings involved. So Councillor Thomas, you had your hand up.
Yes, there's somewhere in between the arguments from the councillors. Yes, councillors at present don't get any reward, don't get any money for doing the project. It all comes out of our pocket. So it seems a bit churlish to expect past mayors to pay for their own badge when mayors in particular do spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and to expect them to have no reward is a bit mean.
Okay, all duly noted. What I would say is that again, I'll reiterate, this is a one hit for this particular year, well, next financial year, because it wasn't put in place before. Historically, go back to the Charter Trustees days and the Borough Mayor's days, it was there in the budget and automatically happened. For some reason, it wasn't continued. I believe it stopped somewhere between maybe Councillor Azad, I think, maybe didn't have a former mayor's badge, but I know Councillor Harmer and Councillor Langlands didn't receive them, and they queried the fact, well, why didn't we get them? It's something that fell apart then, but it is normal custom and practice in many councils. Part of the mayor's budget, at the end of the mayor's year, they will produce a past mayor's badge. I'll just go to Councillor Drace and see if you want to go for this vote on the 2, 3
no,
and 5.
I just realised from what you said, we could agree tonight on A, be it option A or B, but I'm just looking at the wording of B, which isn't to order, it's to propose to order, and I don't know what to propose to order actually means, because it's neither one thing or the other. Because if that was actually to order, if we voted on that tonight, we are then doing the thing that Councillor Wilson is saying we don't think anyone has done before, but if we vote on B, we will have done it. And I still think that should be a full council decision. But I just wonder what to propose to order actually means.
At the moment, we are on A, to agree the final quote for past mayor's badges by selecting option A or B.
Then I don't think the number of badges comes into it. Although they've totaled it in the quote gives a price for an individual badge and the work for it. So we don't have to agree to the big total. We can agree to the individual cost of either the metal badge or the silver badge. The number of badges doesn't, because again, if we then agree to the first quote for 5 badges, we have just said we're going to buy 5 badges.
That decision would be B.
No, because it's you looked at me. The quote is 2,500 and something for 5 badges. And if we agree that, we're saying we're having 5 badges.
I think that's what Councillor Plim's saying, is
Yeah,
change it to 3
What
badges.
you say is you can make an amendment to the motion, and instead of accepting quote A or B for 5, you could then accept quote A or B for 3.
Right.
And that's what I was getting at the start of it, and
yeah.
I think you were alluding to as well.
Yeah.
Then we go on to B. Councillor Wilson?
I think we're arguing over something that we don't need to argue over, because it's not 3, it's 4. And if you're going to have 4, you might as well have 5.
How does it work 4?
If it's per mayor, you'll have you, Councillor Brailsford, me,
Yeah.
and unless I'm voted in for a 3rd term,
Oh, yes, possibly. But this budget...
unless you're going to support me to be voted in for a 4th term, Councillor Plim, you'll need 4.
But I think you'll find that that mayor's budget, that badge will come from the mayor's budget for that year.
Well, that's a nonsense.
So
You
it's
either
free.
have one budget for regalia or one budget for the mayor. You don't have pick and choose where it comes from.
Well, we're not picking and choosing where it comes from. We're going back to standard protocol where the past mayor's badge comes from the mayor's budget, and the regalia deals with the regalia.
So this is
Like-
not regalia then? Oh, okay.
Sorry, I need to.
Yeah. And we've highlighted. Did you want to stay for the vote before we?
I can, yeah, I can.
It's up to you whether you want to go for a vote. I mean, do we want to go for a vote on this
I'm not sure
With-
we can vote unless we know whether we're going to, what we vote with.
with Councillor Drayson's possible amendment of 3 to 5? That's it, 5 to 3. I'll put the proposal forward then. I propose that we amend the proposal on Appendix B for 3 badges.
No, we're on A.
A for 3 badges.
Second that.
A seconder. All those in favour, please
Sorry.
raise.
Can we not do the vote because that we're then committing to doing and ordering these?
No,
and I'm
that's,
not convinced we've actually had that.
that's the next one. The B is proposed to order. We were looking at the quote
We've done
first of
anything
all.
like this before.
We're looking at the quote and then bringing that forward and then ordering.
I'm really very clear in my mind. I'm struggling to substantiate spending this sort of money when we've just upped our precept on a badge to go around someone's neck, when we already have lapel badges which are perfectly suitable for male or female to turn up for a civic event and have it on their lapel. I'm really struggling with this, Councillor Pym, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Motion and it's been seconded.
I tried to prevent that because we haven't
We've
dealt with the issue anyway.
got a motion put forward. I put to the floor. It was been seconded by Councillor Hussain. So that's got to go to the vote to actually clear that. And that motion was. Can you just?
To agree the final quote for the past mayor badges by but amending the number from 5 to 3.
Okay. So I'm gonna. Are you going for the?
No, so we have to do the figures, and I've just done them because we still haven't. It's for us to choose between A and B. So not just reducing it to 5. So we need to know that if we went for option A with 3,
Yeah.
it would be £1,693.51.
Yeah.
And if we go for the silver for 3, it's £2,262.90. And this first part of the motion is asking us to decide which one of those quotes
Yes.
we favour. It's nothing to do with how many we end up ordering, which is B, if we order any. But the total figures have got to, and I think my maths are right, but I didn't want to turn my phone on and do the calculator.
You're right on the first one.
So that needs to be fully amended with those figures so that it would be 1,693.51 or 2,262.90. And that first one is just for us to agree which of those we would favour. It doesn't mean we're going to order any, because that's B.
Yes. I think we're all under that understanding. So we've had a motion, been seconded. I will put that to the vote then. All those in favour, please say.
I'm sorry, Chair.
It's not.
We've got to ask. We've got to decide between A and B. Or are you asking? Are we agreeing to reduce it to 3?
You're right. Reducing to 3 first.
Okay.
Reducing to 3. All those in favour of reducing it to 3, please raise your hands. 2, 3. All those against reducing it to 3, please raise your hands. That's 3, 2, 1 abstain. All those abstaining.
I'm ex officio, I can't vote.
Well, you did previously.
No.
No, I thought we did.
Am I wrong?
You raised your hand.
Yeah, you did.
You did raise your hand. It didn't make any difference to the voting, but you did raise your hand. So, all right. So that's 2 and 3, isn't it? Yeah, that's passed then. So we've now reduced it to 3. So now we look at option A or option B. All those in favour of option A, please raise your hands.
Are you agreeing to actually make this order?
No, that's the next.
No.
That's the next stage.
This is
The next
still
step.
part A.
So
I've
whether
now
you're
decided between A and B.
So dollar or dime.
Quotes.
Okay.
So, all those in favour of option A, please raise your hands. That's 3. All those against option, in favour of option B, please raise your hands. All those abstaining, please raise your hands. All those not taking part in this vote at all.
Sorry, you didn't ask
Sorry,
it
it's
again.
because you switched it from A to B and I got confused.
We're looking at option A
Do A
for
and
3,
against.
4 and against.
Okay, well I'm against.
Right,
All of it.
all those in favour of option A for 3, please raise your hands. Alright, okay, so now it's
Option A against.
option A against. Option A against, that's 2, and that's carried for option A. Right, trying to get my head around this now.
But you've accepted A, so you don't have to vote on B. So
No.
you're not.
So we don't have to
you
accept
vote
B.
on B.
That's it. That's that part of it done.
That was the easy part.
That's next part of it is to propose to order 3, or amend that, past mayor badges based on option A. As previously agreed above. I've got a I'll put that as a proposal to propose to order 3 past mayor's badges based on option A. Have I got a seconder? I have a seconder, Councillor Sane. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That's 2. All those against, please raise your hands. That's 3. That is lost. Right, we got there. Okay. We will move on to, and I think by the fact that we've lost item 16, I could probably safely say that item 17 is probably dropped. Or do you want to go through the motions, so to speak?
But it's an agenda item, so you still need to consider and agree whether you want to go ahead with, consider and agree the design, because obviously it was put forward that a design would be put forward to this committee. Now obviously you can then just say you can amend the motion.
I will propose an amendment to the agenda in Councillor Winter's absence, because unfortunately he's not here, and I am going to propose we withdraw item 17 from the agenda. Have I got a second for that? As a second to Councillor Drayson. All those in
Before you
favour?
withdraw it, I have something I'd like to say, please, on that subject.
Okay, well, we've just done the vote.
You didn't give us the option to speak about anything, you just decided to do
Okay,
it.
all right,
What
we'll tread back. And
Yeah.
we'll,
It won't take long.
Okay.
I'm not carrying on the meeting because of it. But I'm disappointed, A, that Councillor Winter's not here, but B, at full council, Councillor Winter made a statement that the costs for the past deputy mayor badges would not be £637. Nowhere near that. And that is actually a figure that it was most likely to be. And it disappointed me, that, and I wish that Councillor Winter had been here, because he quoted it something that he didn't know, where I was aware of it, at £637. So I'm just putting that on record, that that was the scenario, and now you can carry on.
okay. Well, we've had the vote, and because you don't take part in that vote, it was not going to make a difference.
That's right.
Your points are duly
You need to
noted.
vote.
Oh, we still need to vote on it.
Yeah,
Right.
because you proposed,
I-
Councillor Drayson seconded, but you still need to vote to...
Okay
ignore
then.
it.
There's a motion put forward to withdraw item 17 from the agenda. It's been seconded by Councillor Drayson. All those in favour, please raise your hands. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Right, and now we move to item 18, motions from councillors. Councillor Drayson. I'll read the motion out if that's okay for you, Councillor Drayson.
As you know, Chair, it was scribbled at the last full council meeting.
Exactly. This committee explores the viability of the council publishing a one-off newspaper along the lines of Bexhill News to communicate the reasons for this year's increase in the precept, the services we are providing and future plans. The newspaper should be ready for distribution in late March or early April. Councillor Jason, I take it you're proposing that?
I'm proposing that.
I will second it.
Right.
Before we speak,
Okay.
can I just see if the clerk wants to speak beforehand or after we
Well, I
vote?
was just going to say the fact that I've put times in doesn't mean to say that it's doable.
That isn't what I was going to
Okay.
comment on. Can I just have the civic
Booklet.
booklet back, please, Councillor Thomas?
There might be some
Thank you.
technical amendments to be made to that.
The word newspaper.
Was because I like something light, easy to read, not
Okay.
a glossy magazine.
Now, we had, I've mentioned to the communications officer your motion this evening. And we believe that maybe this kind of style, because obviously would be best for delivery purposes, making it colourful, making it interesting, because if we build 4-6 pages of figures, it's not going to be. So obviously working with, between myself and the comms officer, of how we get across the information we need to get across in a interesting way to the public, but obviously giving them the information. Is that what you are having in mind?
Yes, that's why I likened it to the Bexhill News, because I find that readable
Okay.
and easy to, and it's not a, oh my God, look at this thing from the council in my letterbox that I've got to read.
But obviously it would need to go out in obviously our branding.
Yes.
Is this the sort of style thing you would be?
I thought you were actually going to suggest we could add a couple of pages to that. If that's going out in time for March, I mean that's...
No, this is going out now.
Okay.
That was also brought up about whether we could enhance this. The time frame is very different. This is going out now because the end of the nomination deadline is the end of February, so it's not going to tie in.
And I'm not sure about the cost or if it's doable. It was just an opportunity to jump on this because of the raise in the precept. I mean, I'd also say it should include things like, because no one knows what our town rangers are doing in the future and stuff like, you know, so there's an opportunity for us to communicate with the people of Bexhill at some time this year about what we're doing, and it seemed like the hike in the precept would be a good reason to do it. But I don't know the cost, and I wouldn't be doing it, but it's you've got the gist of an easy to read, because let's face it, some people won't read it even if you made it really easy, but some people might, and it's a chance for us to show what we are doing and what we've done. And I'll shut up now because I've seen the other hands.
So can I just go back to, sorry, Councillor Blake, just so, this would be the size we're looking at. We're looking at doing it in-house if possible, because obviously Tom's done all of our promotional stuff. Obviously it would come back, we've still got time for it to come back potentially to the next Engagement and Comms Committee meeting for you to see visually what it will look like. The other question is, what was your plan of mechanism for distribution? Okay. Fair enough.
I don't know. I realise there are, is it 36,000 households in Bexhill? Something like that.
29,000 voters.
Yeah.
Was you planning on it going to every household?
Ideally it should do, but that might be cost prohibitive. Because you then get you've put up the precept and you're now spending the money telling us why you've put up the precept.
I think what we need to establish as well, by carrying, we will explore this a little bit more, and I'll get to Councillor Baygrove in a moment, but I think, is that motion sufficient for the communication officer to work on, or would we have to amend that motion in any way in order for him? I think the understanding is that we will expect the communication officer to be able to be free to interpret it.
I've already discussed with him, we already discussed prior to this, because obviously I understand that we need to get the information out regarding the precept and how we do that and what mechanism we use. And relaying and obviously discussing with him, and I already said to him, look, it needs to be more graphical, a bit more upbeat and engaging, rather, like I say, than putting a table on there with just figures. So I'd already spoke to him, and I think this motion gives him enough information.
Okay.
My only query I have is the delivery mechanism of this and the distribution.
Okay. Would you with that in mind, would you be able to come back to us with any issues regarding distribution?
In the time frame, it's probably going to need to be via an email to the committee.
But we wouldn't be able to make a
No, you wouldn't be able to make a decision. It's whether you want to give me or the officers delegated authority to pursue, as we would do, best value for distribution and how we do that.
Okay, can I suggest then, before we actually go to discuss this further, is the amendment to this motion will be, and that the communication officer or the RFO is given delegated authority to explore this in a most cost-effective manner.
Yeah, I've got no objection to that. To me, that explores the viability.
It gives them the freedom.
That, but yeah.
Okay. So that's the motion's been put forward, seconded with that amendment on there. Now we'll put it out there. Councillor Blackburn.
So yeah, obviously the delivery of this is the expensive part, and I can tell you that in 2020 I made a book with 30 pages in it, that size, glossy, and I actually went to Lidl's and Tesco's, and both of them took this. And I just used to go in and stack them up on the shelves in there, and the people just took them away. And if that's done properly, you know, you could go to all of the supermarkets. I'm sure they'd get involved. The other thing is the idea of that sort of grows because, you know, I know you want to put stuff regarding the precept in there, but as yet there isn't one concise booklet that tells everybody in this town what we've actually done. We're going into our 5th year, and you know, this could be a really good thing. You know, you can get people to deliver them. There are a lot of houses. It's a major thing to get that delivered, and people say, oh, I'll deliver a few. You know, it doesn't work out. It's massive. When these boxes arrive, they're all over the place, massive amount of boxes. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. Just want to say that.
Okay. I suppose this is the point where I have to declare an interest. As a postal worker for Royal Mail, they will probably have a vested interest in delivering this item themselves. And so I do declare that I'm a postman, and they may get the job to do this, depending on what happens.
Can I talk to you about all the rubbish that came through my letterbox today? I take Councillor Brago's point that, and of course, the Bexhill News seems to be able to have it gets distributed far and wide, not being delivered but being put in shops and stuff around the town. So that is something to be looked at, and I don't know. I don't know if we.
Yeah, I'll pass
Sorry,
the
can
point.
when we originally discussed this, your motion and with the Commons officer, they would initially go out and deliver it to every. Where they deliver at the moment with the other information that they provide in the central area, so within the roads that surround the hub and everything else. Now, obviously, if the costings come out quite considerably for house-to-house delivery, like Councillor Blagrove was saying, we could deliver them to doctors' surgeries, libraries, community halls. Would you, as a committee, be happy that as an alternative if we can't do every household?
Yeah, I think that's
I think that's probably a question for.
There's also the possibility of asking Bexhill News to have it as an insert into their.
I was going to say that, but
Yeah.
they don't, because they don't deliver exactly. You still wouldn't cover every house. I don't think you can cover every house. You just can't.
Councillor Wilson.
A few points if I may. I believe the big survey was posted out to everyone, and the cost was in excess of £20,000. So that would probably avoid your conflict of interest. I think we have to be really careful with this. We have to keep it simple, so using the KISS acronym, because we've done this before. Bexhill News ran a piece, it was either last March or the March before, and it was all of our, for that period, explaining what the town council do and what portion of the precept, etc., etc. Residents just don't care. They don't understand. They don't want to know. All they look at is the bottom line, how much I'm paying per month or per year. We can educate, and you'll still get the same 12 people moaning whatever you put in there. So we have to keep this very, very simple and put only as much in there as we really need to. The more fluffiness, the more questions you'll get. I can assure you of that. It's with every communication that goes out, keep it simple and keep it to the point. We should be a little concerned about the rise in the precept, but actually it's not our concern. The issue for residents will be how Rother deliver their budget when that's agreed, and we should have some joined up thinking between us and Rother to make sure exactly the same message is presented to our residents. So we know what we've done with the precept. We've taken these assets. You would expect special expenses to reduce by a proportionate amount, not exactly, but some of it may go, some of it may not go, and I will be raising it at the leaders' meeting a week Friday to express my concern that Rother District Council have to be aware of the impact, because any changes on that front won't be for us to deal with, that will be for Rother to deal with. So what I'm saying is we have to be really careful with this to not overly complicate it and make it even more confusing by putting too much in there. We're either going to do it about why our precept has nearly doubled or about everything we're doing. If you combine the two, it will be lost in translation.
Councillor Thomas.
Yes, I totally agree with what Councillor Wilson just said. Basically, most people will be greatly interested, but there will be some that want to know the ins and outs of the nuts and bolts. Well, those are the people that will come to us and actually ask in detail. Most people won't be interested in the details.
Okay. Councillor Blago?
I think it's good to give people the option, because it's not that people don't care. I mean, there are a certain amount of people that, you know, they're just not interested. But we're getting to a stage now where, you know, they're paying for this, and there's lots of not fluffy things, but there's lots of factual good stuff. That plenty of content really. I think it could be nicely presented, and you know, people can think what they like about it. They always do, but it's good to have it, and I think they deserve it, and you can get people's interest via it. So I think, you know, we've got strategic dates coming up, events coming up. We can encourage people to come to the council meetings. There's a lot that could go in there. So I think it's a good idea. I'm not frightened of anything that should go in there.
Okay. I'm going to put this to the vote then. Councillor Wilson?
I'm sorry, Chair. We have access already with Bexhill News.
Yeah.
If we're going to do this newspaper, why are we spending £5 a year on Bexhill News?
Yeah. I was going to say, I'd taken, and you realised that it was cobbled together the night of the full council meeting, and I very much took your point about last year and the page in there. So the viability of, to me, is a very wide thing, and if the communication officer and the clerk come back and say, do you know what, it'd be much better to make sure we have a very, even 2 pages in the Bexhill News to get the story across. But I think it's nice to have our own document. But if that cost becomes too prohibitive, perhaps we.
I think all the points we've made will be noted by the RFO and the
I'd like it
communication
to be
officer,
asked if we can.
and they will seek all avenues there.
Can I just ask, Councillor Drayson, from my understanding, from this is a one-off
Yes.
for the moment. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
why.
Exactly.
One off until next year when we do some more.
But then if it's once a year, it's...
Yeah.
But then,
Councillor Ballygrove.
I've always not agreed with having a whole page all the time in the Bexhill News, and maybe we can adjust that. And because I think we can do this for something like £3,000, and if we're spending £5,000 on just the newspaper, maybe for just this year we can adjust that, and that is much more readable. Those little pamphlets are much more readable than newspapers. You know, people like what they're about, they pick them up, they read them. So, yeah, I don't think you can compare it to newspapers, but I think we could make an adjustment somewhere if people agreed.
Okay, let's go to the vote on this motion then, and then we can it gives the clerk and the communication officer a clear indication of what we consider should happen. So all those in favour, please raise your hands. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, item 19, correspondence. I'm not aware of any correspondence. And item 20, date of the next meeting, 4th of March 2026. Everybody should have the motions to go forward presented to the clerk by the Wednesday, by the 21st of February for that particular meeting. And what I would say is we may, possibly, if there is any real implications regarding that newsletter, we may hold an extraordinary meeting for any decisions to be made, but I very much doubt if that will happen.
Yeah, we could do, but if 4th of March would still give us time
Right,
if
okay.
needed, because it's right at the beginning of the month, so...
Brilliant. Okay. All right, meeting closed. Thank you very much.